Welcome to Private Hire Vehicle Driver's Handbook. Safety, equality, and regulatory information for London private hire vehicle drivers. Please note that this handbook will be kept under review and may be altered or amended to reflect any changes in the law or TFL policies and guidance. TFL will publish this handbook on its website, and it will specify which version of the handbook to read in preparation for a particular test in the event that it has been altered or amended. Private Hire Vehicle Driver's Handbook contents the following sections, and we recommend you to watch all videos several times, as all questions in the test are based on this information. Section 1. London PHV Driver Licensing. Section 2. Licensing requirements for PHVs. Section 3. Carrying out private hire journeys. Section 4. Staying safe. Section 5. Driver behavior. Section 6. Driving and parking in London. Section 7. Safer driving. Section 8. Being aware of equality and disability. Section 9. Safeguarding children and adults at risk. Section 10. Ride-sharing. Introduction. Transport for London, TFL, is responsible for the licensing and regulation of London's taxi and private hire vehicle, PHV, industry to ensure a safe and reliable service for the public. We set regulations and policies for taxi, black cab, and PHV services to protect customers and ensure vehicles are safe, accessible, and meet strict environmental standards. We are responsible for licensing all London's 1. Taxi drivers and vehicles. 2. Private hire operators, drivers, and vehicles. TFL sets requirements and standards for licensing and is also responsible for making sure that licensees follow the law. We work closely with the taxi and private hire trades, the Metropolitan Police Service, and the City of London Police to ensure the safety of passengers. We are also responsible for delivering the Mayor's Transport Strategy, which sets out the transport vision for London between now and 2031. PHVs play an important role in delivering passenger transport services in London, and it is essential that standards set by TFL ensure the safety of passengers and other users. It is also important that all licensed PHV drivers provide a professional service to their passengers. TFL expects drivers to offer a high level of customer service, use clean and well-maintained licensed vehicles, and to fully obey the laws of the road. This handbook provides you with essential information to help you give your passengers the safe and professional service they expect. It also includes information on your responsibilities as a PHV driver. It is important that both new applicants for a license and existing PHV drivers have a good knowledge of all the information in this handbook. You will therefore need to do an assessment based on the information in this handbook as part of the licensing application process, so please read all of it carefully. This assessment is known as the Safety, Equality, and Regulatory Understanding Assessment, SERU Test. Please note that passing the Safety, Equality, and Regulatory Understanding Assessment will also mean that you have the required English language skills of reading and writing in order to be licensed as a London PHV driver. Some of the words in this handbook have links to the glossary section, where you can find the meanings of those words. It is important that you read these meanings and understand what the words mean, but you will not be tested on their meanings. This handbook also has some links to websites. You will not be tested on information found on those websites. This handbook is not a complete statement of the laws or policies that London PHV drivers are subject to and should be used for general guidance only. Some of the laws and policies in this handbook are the responsibility of TFL. Some are the responsibility of other authorities, and some are laws of the road. You must comply with them all, and we encourage applicants and licensees to refer directly to the applicable laws and policies, and to take independent legal advice where appropriate. Remember to watch all videos as many times as possible in order to understand and remember all of the information from the handbook. Section 1. London PHV Driver Licensing. To work as a London PHV driver, you will need to be licensed by TFL. Only then can you carry out bookings for a London private hire operator that is also licensed by TFL. When you get your license to work as a London PHV driver, There are a number of rules and policies that you need to know about. This section sets out some of these rules and policies and explains what you need to do. The licensing requirements are as follows. You must be aged 21 or older when you apply for your license. There is no upper age limit. You must have a full DVLA, Northern Ireland, European Union, EU, or European Economic Area, EEA, state driving license that is at least 3 years old. You must have the right to live and work in the UK. You must be a fit and proper person to hold a license. You will need to have an enhanced criminal records check done by the Disclosure and Barring Service, DBS. You must be physically fit. This will mean that you will need to have a medical examination with a doctor who has access to all of your medical records. The medical requirements are the DVLA Group 2 medical standards. You will need to take a separate test to check your ability to select and plan a route, read a map and identify locations. The test is held in a centre approved by TFL and conducted under exam conditions by a TFL examiner. This test is known as a topographical skills assessment. You will need to prove that you have at least a B1 level of ability in the English language. B1 is a level of English in the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages. To prove your English language speaking and listening skills, you will need to take a test. The test is held in a TFL building and conducted under exam conditions. Your English language reading and writing skills will be derived from the Safety, Equality and Regulatory Understanding Assessment. Private Hire Driver's License. If your application is approved, TFL will send you a London PHV driver's license. Your license may have some conditions attached to it. For example, if you have a medical condition, you may be required to have extra medical checks. Any conditions added to your license will be explained in the letter sent to you with your license. It is very important that you keep the letter and comply with any conditions that come with your license. If you do not, then your license may be revoked. As soon as you are licensed, it is important that you keep in contact with us and respond to any letters, emails, or other forms of communication. Your London PHV driver's license normally lasts for 3 years. If it is for a shorter period, the letter that comes with the license will explain why. You should keep your license at home in a safe place and give a copy of it to any licensed private hire operators you are working with. If a police officer or TFL authorized officer asks to see your license, you must let them see it there and then or within a maximum of 7 days. The PHV operators you work with must keep copies of your PHV driver's license and your DVLA, NI, EU or EEA driving license. The letter that comes with your license contains important information about your responsibilities as a London PHV driver, including any conditions you must meet. It is important that you read this letter carefully and make sure you understand it. If there are conditions on your license which require you to provide TFL with information, for example if you need to provide further medical information, then TFL may write to you to remind you that the information is needed. There are further general conditions that all license holders need to know. These are given below. Your PHV driver's badge. When you get your license, you will also receive a PHV driver's badge, also known as photographic ID. You must wear this badge at all times when you are working as a PHV driver. Your PHV driver's badge displays your name, photograph, license number, and the date your license period ends. Remember, your operator must give passengers your name, photograph, and vehicle details. This means that passengers can check this information against your badge. Example of PHV driver badge. You must wear your badge whenever you are working as a PHV driver, including when you are waiting to receive a booking or traveling to pick up a passenger. When you wear it, you must make sure that it can clearly be seen by other people. This applies to all PHV drivers unless we have given you special permission not to. This is called an exemption. If we give you an exemption, we will send you an exemption notice. You must carry that notice with you at all times when working as a PHV driver. If a passenger asks for your license number, you should let them see your badge so that they can write the number down. The badge includes text in Braille, which means a vision-impaired person can know that you are licensed. Remember, the badge is for you to use only. You must not allow any other person to use it to carry out bookings. Lost PHV driver's badge and license. If you lose your PHV driver's badge or license, or somebody steals it, report it immediately to TFL. If your badge has been stolen, you should also report it to the police and get a crime reference number from them. Without your badge, you cannot continue working as a PHV driver. TFL will replace your lost or stolen badge or license. However, if you then find your original badge or license, you must return it to TFL. Your badge and license are the property of TFL at all times, including when they have passed their expiry date. You must return them when they pass the expiry date or when you are no longer licensed. Medical conditions. To get your license to be a PHV driver, you must be medically fit. The standards you must meet are the DVLA Group 2 medical standards. In most cases, this will mean that you will need to have a medical examination with someone, i.e. a doctor, who has access to your full medical records. You may be exempt from supplying a medical form if you have a full or provisional, issued after January 1997, DVLA Group 2 license, or have a current London taxi driver's license, or have a valid, current pilot's license issued by the Joint Aviation Authorities. TFL will remind you when a medical examination is due and send you the form you need. You are responsible for making sure that a doctor completes the form with all the required information about your health, and for returning the form to TFL. If you do not send TFL all the necessary information, you might not get your license. From the age of 45, PHV drivers must have a medical examination each time they apply to renew their license. From the age of 65, PHV drivers must have a medical assessment every year. If you do not send TFL all the necessary information, you might lose your license. If you have an existing medical condition, extra medical examinations may be needed. You should tell TFL immediately if, between medical examinations, you develop a new medical condition that may affect your ability to drive. Some examples of medical conditions you should let TFL know about include diabetes, epilepsy, poor eyesight or other eye conditions affecting sight, heart conditions, high blood pressure, neurological conditions, including strokes, prescription medication that may affect your ability to drive, psychiatric illness, any condition which the DVLA requires you to report. If you are not sure whether to tell TFL, you should contact TFL for advice. The DVLA frequently updates its medical standards, so TFL recommends that you check with the DVLA if you develop any new medical condition. Change of address. It's important that TFL has your correct home address and email address, so that you can be contacted with any information about your license. If you change your home address, you should tell TFL within 21 days. You should also tell us about any change to your email address or telephone number. This is important so TFL can keep you informed of any changes to the regulations to do with how PHVs and PHV drivers are licensed, as well as news and events that could affect your job. You are also required by law to tell the DVLA if you change your address. You will then get a new driving license with your new address on it. Details of how to do this are on the back of your DVLA license. The address on your PHV driver's license should be the same as the address on your DVLA license. Other changes in personal circumstances. As a licensed London PHV driver, you must tell TFL immediately if your personal circumstances change. This includes if you have broken the law and have been disqualified from driving. Please note that you will also have to return your London PHV driver's license and badge to TFL. If you are the subject of a mental health order or sexual offences order. If you are on either the adults or children's barred lists. If you have a private hire or taxi driver's license with another licensing authority, and that authority has suspended or revoked your license, or refused any new application, you have made convictions, cautions and arrests. You must tell TFL immediately if you are arrested, charged with, convicted or cautioned for any crime. This includes any fixed penalty notices or road traffic offences that result in penalty points on your driving license. You are responsible for telling TFL about any offences you have committed. Do not rely on the police informing TFL. If you fail to tell TFL about any convictions, you could have your license revoked. Other fixed penalties, parking tickets, and PCNs. You do not need to tell TFL about any other penalty charge notices, PCNs, or parking tickets that do not result in penalty points on your driving license. However, if TFL becomes aware that you are getting frequent PCNs and/or parking tickets, TFL may take licensing action against you. This is because TFL expects all licensed drivers to behave responsibly. Right to live and work in the United Kingdom. If there are restrictions on a driver's right to live and work in the UK, TFL will add an appropriate condition on the license. If you are in this situation, you should make sure you comply with these conditions, and make sure you have a continuing right to work. In particular, if you are in the UK on a student visa, you will only be allowed to work for a limited number of hours each week, and you will not be allowed to be self-employed. Complaints. If TFL receives a complaint about you or becomes aware of any behavior that is not satisfactory, TFL may write to you with the details and ask for your comments. It is important that you respond to TFL's request. TFL can only make licensing decisions based on the information received. Suspending or revoking a PHV driver's license. If for any reason your license is revoked, you must return your license to TFL within 7 days. If you do not, or your license has been suspended or revoked with immediate effect, TFL may send an authorized officer to take it from you. Revoking a driver's private hire vehicle license. If your PHV driver's license is suspended or revoked, and you are the owner of a licensed private hire vehicle, TFL may make the decision to revoke the vehicle license as well. TFL will consider doing this if there is any risk to public safety. For example, if there is evidence that the vehicle could be used as a PHV by somebody without a PHV driver license, or if a driver has been charged with, or convicted of, a serious violent or sexual offense. Disclosure and Barring Service, DBS. As part of the application process, you, the applicant, must have an enhanced criminal records check from the Disclosure and Barring Service, DBS. The DBS is a public body that does checks on people's backgrounds. The checks will show any convictions, cautions, reprimands, and final warnings you have had. The checks will also show if the local police have any information that is relevant to you working as a PHV driver, and if you are on a list of people who are prevented from working with vulnerable groups. TFL uses a separate company to arrange DBS checks for applicants. You must use this company to get your DBS certificate. Further details are on the TFL website. Thanks for watching Section 1.